Ms. Calderon.
Here.
Mr. DeCosta.
Here.
Ms. Dunn.
Here.
Ms. Coffinger.
Here.
Mr. Luna.
Here.
Ms. Ryan.
Here.
Vice President Gomez.
Here.
President Andrews.
Here. Please rise for the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Milford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall and the Milford Public Library. Notices have been sent to the Record and the Twin Borough News. The Board announces that under its long-standing policy, it will not discuss in public any comments made by members of the public concerning individual staff members. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones, we will open the agenda to items on the agenda. As outlined in New Milford Board of Education Bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 2 minutes. May I get a motion? Motion by Stephanie Coffinger, seconded by Nicole Dunn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are no comments from the public. Can I get a motion to close to the public? Motion by Paige Ryan, seconded by John DeCosta. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have a presentation. Mary Bilali, Supervisor of High School Guidance, but I will hand it over to Mrs. Shanley.
Mary. I'm like looking, I'm doing like the grandmother thing. I'm looking over the glasses and reading at the same time. If I could just please take a moment to read this for you. The New Milford Board of Education is proud to honor Mary Bilali. Whereas Mary Bilali has been a guidance counselor and guidance supervisor at New Milford High School for 17 years, and whereas during her tenure, Mary Bilali has enthusiastically performed her duties and responsibilities with professionalism, creativity, and sensitivity to the individual and collective needs of students, and whereas Mary Bilali has worked with her colleagues as a friend, mentor, and role model whose expertise consistently raised the level of expectations for New Milford High School students. The New Milford Board of Education on this day, August 30th, 2022, recognizes her steadfast commitment to excellence in education and offers its gratitude and best wishes for health, happiness, and long retirement. So on behalf of the board, I would like to present this to you, and Mr. Manupelli would like to speak to you as well.
One of the things that separates us a lot is she loves the spotlight. I've had the honor of working with Mary for many years. When I was a vice principal here, she was working as a guidance counselor, and from that time, I grew a lot of respect for the work that she did. And then when I returned as a principal, I was able to really learn a lot from her, and most importantly about the importance of the job in relation to the students. That's always been her priority, and she's always reminded us as an administrative team as well, like Jerry, Joe, and everyone else on the team, is to focus on the students and what they need. The many hats that she's worn throughout this time, Kelly Peterfriend, she's going to come in and do a great job, and she's got big shoes to fill, because Mary would do so much. Everything from testing to 504 to IRS to everything under the sun that we needed done, and when something new came about, we would turn to Mary and say, how are we going to handle this? And she's always been the one that led us. So it's very difficult for me. I've said goodbye several times. I've been fortunate enough to do that. But it's very difficult to me to see her move on. We're very proud of her. She's having a very short retirement. She's moving on to Stevens. She's going into higher and bigger and better things in college. So at Stevens and Homework, and so we're very proud of her. We're glad that she's close and nearby, because we're going to keep in touch. And We always love to hear Hoboken as well, so that was great. But Mary, just thank you so much. You meant a lot to me, and to our team, and to our most important to our students. So thank you. And my husband Tim, he's not so bad either.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. It's been a wonderful 17 years, and I will miss this place.
Mrs. Bilali, congratulations. Would anyone else on the board like to say anything?
Thank you. Thank you.
That leads us to our Superintendent of Schools report, Mrs. Danielle Shanley.
Okay, so this report will be very short in the working session. We have no July HIV incidents and no July suspensions. That's that.
That was the best
Best
report
report I've
you've
ever-
ever given.
We'll just wait.
All right.
Just wait. Wait till the next one.
All right. Assistant
snacks.
Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Lauren Odoxa.
I'm going to reserve my report for the next meeting.
All right.
In 10 minutes. It is not.
Yeah, a few minutes.
Business Administrator report, Stephanie Bouchard.
I'm also going to hold it to the regular meeting.
Agenda items for discussion. Review of the tentative agenda for regular meeting to be held on August 30th, 2022. Review of board action. Review of educational programs and curriculum. Review of personnel recommendations. I would just like to say that the pit conductor, that's great to see because I think the summer play, Mamma Mia, was the first time ever
In a
we've
while.
had- in a
In a
long
while.
time that we've had a live music, and that's excellent. Okay. Review of finance. I would just like to say thank you very much for the donations. Review of facilities. Review of athletics and co-curricular. Just exciting to see that the girls softball team can do their spring training again this year. I know they really, really enjoyed it and got a lot out of it last year. Review of policy. Do we have any liaison and board committee reports? Paige?
No, I think there was one in our packet. There's
Policy.
policy.
And that
I just
is
went
not
like
me,
that.
that's Anthony.
Can I say something?
Sure.
About that? I thought the in the packet when we received your little summary was excellent. I thought that was a great recap of what you guys went over and what policies. I loved it. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And that was Anthony, not me, but that was, I think, that was done after our discussion at a retreat, so.
Yep.
Okay. So then nothing else to add? Good? Okay. Do we have any other? I see Councilman Seymour in the audience. I know that we're partnering again. New Milford is hosting the Domestic Violence Symposium again.
Yes, and
This year.
thank you.
So do you want to speak about that and anything else?
Yes, I would. First, I'd like to mention that the 100th Anniversary Committee is presenting Music Fest in October at Knightsfield on Sakino Drive. We don't have an exact date determined yet, but we should shortly. So that should be another great opportunity for the community to get together and enjoy a day together. And as you mentioned, we're proud to announce that for the 4th year in a row, we are presenting the 4th annual New Milford Domestic Violence Awareness Symposium, which will be at the high school. Thank you. On Tuesday, October 25th, at around 6:30 p.m. Once again, we're partnering with the district, with this board, with the prosecutor's office, with the sheriff's department, and with our local police department. And we couldn't be more privileged and humbled to call everybody our partner. It is truly a team effort and a community outreach program. So thank you. We'll of course have more details as they develop. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Additional board items. Old business? New business?
I have something.
Sure.
Actually, Danielle, be better if I go over that now, or when we get to?
It's up to you.
I'll do it now. So, I had sent an email earlier in the week about some things that I wanted to ask, and so I want to do that tonight. Part of my frustration as a board member is that I don't feel as though we as a board really have an opportunity to communicate all that well. I thought at the retreat was a great opportunity, and we all, kind of for the first time had a lot of real good dialogue, I thought. So yesterday I received answers to most of the questions, and all the questions that I asked. It was really an email that I was trying to direct towards President Andrews, Vice President Gomez, and the superintendent, not necessarily directed towards or at. I wasn't questioning her or the school. It was more me trying to say, hey, I've got some questions, and I really think that the board should consider some of these things and that we should talk about it. So I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. My gravest concern right now is for our student athletes who are now on, specifically the girls soccer, on their fourth coach in 4 years. I think that they, like all of our student athletes, need stability, consistency, and normalcy, especially in this COVID environment in which the seniors, have endured anything but a normal high school experience. So these are the questions that I had sent, and I'd like to just go through the whole thing, and then perhaps President Andrews or whomever would like to jump in, or the board. So one of the questions I asked is, what is the protocol and process that we have in place for hiring head coaches? And is it the same for all sports across the board? Is it different in soccer than it is in football, or what have you? Second one is, what is the proper legal process in the athletic department and administration in respect to confirming the eligibility of a potential employee and hiring them? The third question I had was, we have previously spoke of a translation issue in this board in public in regards to a transcript issue. So part of that is, how did we go through that entire coaching season last year without having the results, having the sub-cert, and that brought us to where we are now. And then what measures, did we contemplate, or have we in fact already put in place to ensure that we don't have that similar occurrence again? And again, I know the answer to some of these questions. I'm reading for everybody else's edification, and because I think it's important, and I think that the board members might have some questions as well. So at that, I'd like to propose that the board considers the following, so that we can better identify any areas of strengths or challenges we might face. I think that we need to undertake a comprehensive review of the entire athletic department and examine exactly what our mission and goals are for the various programs involved. And if I may say this, I think that Superintendent Shanley had responded to me and mentioned that part of our mission, that might fall into there, and I thought that was a really good idea. The other thing is that we had a flood last year, and I believe that we lost some equipment. I'm not sure exactly what. I don't know if it's been replaced. I don't know where we stand with all that. And I also don't even know if that's something that we're supposed to look into or not. But as part of kind of overlooking all of athletics, I thought it might be worth noting, like, hey, yeah, we're still out this, or no, we're not, or we're good, or whatever it might be. Athletics are a major part of many of our students' mental and physical well-being. We need to know if we are providing the best possible experience to them within the financial and other constraints we may have, if we are, or if we're just providing an adequate one. Our student athletes deserve the very best we can provide for them. For some, the teachers that they call coach have the most profound impact on them of all. I'd really like to hear the thoughts, as I said, and opinions of all the board members in regards to this, and if this is something that you think that maybe should come up in committee, or if it should come up in, is it policy committee, athletic committee? Is it something that we talk about here? If anybody else has had any similar thoughts or questions with what's, gone on or undertaken, I certainly welcome to hear them. Part of what I was saying, I couldn't send that email to everybody as much as I wanted to.
I don't
Yeah.
want
I'm
to.
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, I appreciate your questions, I appreciate your concerns, they're all valid. We did, you and I both spoke to school boards to determine that it
Yep.
is not done at a board meeting, it goes into committees. The we of conducting the reviews is the position of the administration. But it should be discussed in committees. They should have these things reported to them in committees. So it would be athletics as well as policies. I sent you some policies because with regards to your questions about hiring processes and things like that, that should be policy. And that is where the board that is what we do, board members do. We do policy. Did you have time to review those policies I sent you?
I did.
Okay, so I had asked if you have concerns with the policies, then with the policy committee, that's where we can make a change. We can change policy, add policy if we need to do that. So please do reach out to the policy chair with policy concerns.
I will do that.
So it's done in committees, but all questions are valid. I'm glad you asked them, and it's done in committees. So athletics chair would be Nicole, and policy is Anthony. So please shoot them an email, or and let them know with specifically what you'd like them to talk about in their committee meetings.
So if I may, the original email that I had sent, am I able to send that to Nicole and Tony, or
Yeah, sure, email.
Okay, because I just didn't know if that, now too many people have seen it and it becomes a problem. I just don't know.
No. It's only would be you're concerned about quorum. That's a good question. No, it's only if
Something we're voting on.
yes, if we're voting on, and also if it's all at once back and forth conversation.
Okay.
But if you're sending one email to Tony, if you're forwarding one email to Tony, that's fine. If you're forwarding one email to Nicole, that's fine. That's not a quorum.
Okay. So that was pretty much it. And, just the last thing that I was going to say, you just jumped in, Tanya, is, that you in an email had said to me that it might be appropriate to discuss those things in committee. And, if so, fine. But I wanted to be able to at least tell everybody on the board what I was thinking. As I said, to see if anybody else is thinking something similar, has any questions, or certainly if I'm going to send an email to Nicole and Tony about that. If anybody else here has any questions that they'd like me to include, you're welcome to reach out to me, or obviously directly to them as well, right? So,
Yeah. And that's good. I had mentioned to you that the appropriate place to mention this would be the new business.
Yep.
So that's good. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we're open to the public. Can I get a motion?
Can I ask a follow-up question on this?
Sure.
So just in the context of, should members agree with what Joe is saying in his position, how do people that are not members of the athletic committee then how are they engaged in that conversation, or is it just just that committee conversation and then
The committee
report
reports back to us.
Committee reports back.
But if you do have concerns, reach out to the committee co-chair, and that's how it's done. Yeah. Excellent question. So can I get a motion to open to the public? As outlined on New Milford Board of Education Bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 2 minutes. Motion by Paige Ryan, second by Heather Gomez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If there are no comments from the public, can I get a motion to close? Motion by Anthony Alborough, second by Nicole Dunn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can I get? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But should I close? Yes. Yeah. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Paige Ryan, second by Stephanie Pichar. All in favor? Stephanie Coffinger. All in favor?
Oh my gosh.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we are going to go into our regular meeting agenda. So I know some of you came for the first meeting only. I don't want you to feel you have to stay.
Although we really love you.
And thank you for coming. Congratulations. And anyone else who may want to leave.
Thank you again, Mrs. Wallach.
Okay. I'm not going to tap it. Meeting starts. Roll call, please. Mr. Albro?
Present.
Ms. Calderon?
Here.
Mr. DeCosta?
Here.
Ms. Dawn?
Here.
Ms. Coffinger?
Here.
Mr. Luno?
Here.
Ms. Ryan?
Here.
Vice President Gomez?
Here.
President Andrews?
Here.
We already did the pledge. I think we're okay. Board statements? We did. All right. Recommended action. Just make sure I'm in the right spot. Here we go. Recommended action, Committee of a Whole. I seek a motion for the approval of the minutes of the July 12 retreat, the July 12 work, and the July 12 regular. Motion by Paige Ryan, seconded by Nicole Dunn. All in favor?
Aye.
I just need to abstain from the regular session.
Thank you. Opposed? Open to the public for items on the agenda. As outlined in New Milford Board of Education Bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 2 minutes. Can I get a motion? Motion by Joseph Lunam, seconded by Nicole Dunn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If there are no comments from the public, can I get a motion to close? Motion by Stephanie Coffinger, seconded by Anthony Albro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Do we have a report from Mrs. Shanley?
We do. Does everybody have a snack? It's always big when we're launching the year. So,
A lot going on.
yes, and I have reports from a lot of the members of my team who wanted to share wonderful things. So, if I could start with special thanks to my team of administrators, central office leaders, the technology department, buildings and grounds, maintenance, custodial, administrative assistants, okay, our bus drivers, teachers, instructional assistants, counselors, nurses, everybody who helped us get through the trials and tribulations of extensive curriculum revisions, planning for professional development, completing the regular work that we do in the summer, as well as completing this year's summer projects, and everything that it takes to get a school district open for the teachers and for the students. I mean, really, just don't think unless you've ever done it. You really know all that goes into it. So we are finalizing every last detail in preparation for everyone to come back. We've conducted some really wonderful hiring. We offered 3 full days of new teacher orientation. We have rolled over to a new substitute provider and absence management system. And we're still finishing, waxing, shining, disinfecting, everything for the opening of school. Teachers are coming back on Thursday and Friday. I've also spent some time this summer with the New Milford Police Department on revising our new school safety plan, and I have invited them to present to the faculty and staff on Friday morning. And the administrative team members have all begun, if not already finished, the required threat assessment training. Threat assessment implementation is not required until September of 2023, but we're ready for it now. I'm so proud of all that we've accomplished this summer. Camps on site, right? Extended school year programming, our enrichment series, our summer stock theater production of Mamma Mia, which was funded by COVID relief grants, as was our enrichment series. Marching band camp, independent study assignments, the renovation of the business office to include the final secure vestibule, which Dr. Kuchar will speak to in much more detail. And I really have to acknowledge Stephanie and Brian Piero for their attention to all the projects, in addition to regular summer work. And Dr. Kuchar deserves a much needed vacation. She has not taken one. I don't even know if she's taken lunch all summer, to be perfectly honest with you. We were thinking of moving in like a futon for this year. As far as COVID goes, the guidelines have softened. Masks remain optional for all healthy students, faculty, and staff. We will not be contact tracing anymore, but rather we will just post active COVID cases by building on our website at the end of the week, each week. Weekly tested for unvaccinated faculty and staff is no longer required. And of course, in the event that we have any changes in our local or state health conditions, the district reserves the right to change or increase our procedures or our protocols as needed in concert with the health department, CDC, etc. On September 6th, we are expected to see 2,046 smiling faces walk into our schools to meet their new teachers and principals. I'm sure they're always smiling, especially those high school kids. Yeah. They're really smiling. But there are still, this is important, 52 returning students who have not yet completed their online registration. So every few years, we ask families to re-register, and that's important. We have 52 students who have not done that, actually parents who have not done that, as well as 61 who still need to provide proof of residency and have outstanding obligations. So it's very important, if those parents are listening, or that you just remind a friend, don't forget to complete your online registration in Power School and update your proof of residency. So please make sure to handle that before Tuesday, or else your children will not have access to district technology, because you just can't access it without going through the technological hoops, okay? And that's really important for the first day of school. Registrations for the Chromebook insurance are rolling in. I highly recommend that parents take advantage of this protective program option. The technology department this summer has checked in 500 brand new HP Chromebooks to be distributed to 1st, 5th, and 9th graders. It is more of a $250,000 investment in technology, and it's very important that we do what we can to protect that technology. The elementary schools are really excited to host their elementary sneak peek this Friday afternoon. Parents and students are welcome to visit their classrooms and meet their teachers at the elementary schools before the beginning of the school year. So information about this event was sent to parents from the school principals, and or you can check your elementary school website. That is an hour Friday afternoon. Berkeley, from Mrs. Torrey, the faculty and staff at Berkeley are eagerly waiting those little faces, and they are set to welcome the students back to school on September 6th, like we are everywhere. And due to the hard work of the custodial maintenance team, the building looks absolutely amazing. And the dedicated teachers have come in over the summer to fix up their classrooms in anticipation of their students' return. The building is ready and waiting to enter and start the adventure of a new school year that will be filled with memories and experiences that they can take with them for a lifetime. A note from Mr. Coughlin. We are ready to welcome 480 students to BF Gibbs on September 6th. Our school is ready for the opening. Special thanks and many efforts to the custodial staff. And this summer, they have welcomed Mr. Agapito Marantal as their head custodian, and it's been a pleasure getting to know him. His dedication and keen attention to detail reflects the pride we all have in our school, and it is evident when you walk through the halls of the building. In the main office, Ms. Auerbach, Ms. Walsh ensured that everything, and I mean everything, was taken care of, from student registrations to distribution of teaching materials. They handled it all. Actually, I think that was from Mrs.
Torrey.
Yeah, it was switched. Yeah, it was switched. Okay. I'll have to yell at them. I'm in the wrong place. They're both really happy. And they both are really excited about welcoming the kids and very grateful. Okay. Ms. Paula Castro assisted with many summer priorities. Some of these included assisting in building the master schedule and meeting with teachers in both buildings to prepare instructional materials for the school year. And finally, many district staff members from the tech department, buildings and grounds, and the superintendent's office made important contributions to our preparations for this academic year. And they send their sincere thanks. From Mr. Jalala, he's very excited to welcome 470 students into DEO on September 6th. His school is ready, and they appreciate all the wonderful work that the staff has done. On August 24th, they had 160 students participate in Camp DEO. The incoming 6th graders, any new 7th or 8th graders, staff, and the student council members performed a getting to know you activity designed to introduce the Berkeley and Gibbs students to the concept that we are now one unified community at David E. Owens. this really has become an event that they all look forward to. The students had the opportunity to review their schedules, perform a scavenger hunt, ask their peers questions, get to decorate their lockers, maybe learn how to use a locker, and special thanks to the PTO at Gibbs at Berkeley for purchasing locks and string bags for all of the incoming 6th graders. It was a wonderful help for the new members of the school. This year, we're very excited to offer at David E. Owens a new music program that highlights digital production, guitar, and introduction to the many cultural connections that music has to offer. This is an elective class across all grade levels at the middle school, and voluntarily, students will also have the option to participate in dance class for the first time. We cannot express how appreciative we are to the community for supporting these amazing programs and to the board. Often, these types of classes give our students an essential connection to the school. Finally, Mr. Dalal would like to extend his sincere gratitude to everyone involved in making DEO a place to grow. Bless you. Bless you. For Mr. Manupelli, it's a pleasure to welcome back students and staff to New Milford High School. Our dedicated staff has been preparing our students for that first day, and we're very fortunate to serve in such a meaningful vocation. Our actions and commitment to students have an everlasting impact on this generation and those that follow. He would like to actually name all of his new staff members individually. So Sandra Wasserman wants to give a proud night welcome to Sandra Wasserman, who will be teaching French, Katie DiLorenzo, who will be sharing the dance position between the high school and the middle school, Tyler Anwalt, who will be our related arts teacher for graphics and photography, replacing Mr. Pevney, Bonnie Taylor, who will be teaching related arts and business, replacing Karen Vicari, Bashira Hasmani, who will be teaching ELA, Jenna Rezkowski, who will be teaching social studies, Sean Ryan, who will be teaching physical education and health, as well as coaching, Kelly Peterfriend, who will be joining us as our guidance supervisor, Federico Tizico, who will be joining the custodial staff, and Hugo Serna Lopez, who will be joining the busing and custodial staff. And I would just like to also recognize Shayna Ginley, who will be a district-wide supervisor of mathematics this year. She was a coach last year, and we have promoted her to administrator. There are a lot more people that we have hired, and I hope to have a comprehensive list with introductions and bios to send out to all of you. Mr. Manupelli would also like to give a special thanks to the technology department, Ron, Dan, Matt C., and Matt R. Of the tech team for ensuring the tech will be up to speed. Special thanks to head custodian Verge and both the custodial maintenance crews for making the building ready and looking great. You know, one of the greatest challenges that we have in preparing the buildings is that they're really not empty of students and people until the 2nd or 3rd week of August in a lot of cases because of all the programs that we run. So where we might otherwise have a leisurely summer to address all of the programs, it's sort of a mad dash at the end to get everything done, and it's and then also maintain the facilities while the students and teachers are using them all summer long. In wings and special education, we have some notes. We had a very successful extended school year, or ESY program. 105 students attended our preschool through wings program, and 7 students attended our high school program, which provided work experiences for the students. Updates on CPAC. All parents of a child with an IEP received a survey developed by the steering committee to complete, which will guide the new CPAC. Parents are responding to questions related to meeting times that are best for them and special education topics they would like to see explored throughout the year. Special dates coming up. So our back to school nights, Berkeley is September 13th. Gibbs is September 15th. High school is September 21st. All of this will be on our calendar on the website. And David E. Owens is Wednesday, September 28th. I'm sorry. I said Thursday, September 22nd. I should have said 22nd. That's my mistake. For the high school, Thursday, September 22nd. And David E. Owens is Wednesday, September 28th. The New Milford High School is also planning on hosting an open house after, separate from the back to school night. which is for 7th and 8th grade families during the fall, so that families can see what our programming looks like, have meet the coaches opportunity, explore our clubs and extracurriculars, and see everything that the high school has to offer. We realize that other high schools in the area, particularly private parochial schools, offer these types of open houses, and we think that we should be in the game so that everybody can see everything that we have to offer as well. So we are working on planning that, and that will likely be October. Athletics. We'd like to first congratulate senior student athlete Jordan Becker, who will be representing New Milford High School at the Title IX 50th Anniversary Luncheon on Sunday, September 18th at the Princeton West End. Congratulations to the girls varsity tennis team who captured their second straight Bergen-Hudson preseason tennis invitational today. Also like to let you know that our opening New Milford High School football game is this Thursday, September 1st at 7 p.m. I'm sorry, I think maybe 6:30. Yeah, 6:30. It says 7, but I think it's 6:30. Okay. It might even be 6.
I think it's 6.
I'm gonna say 6. If you get there early, just buy a hot dog. Please. Go to a table, sign up for the PTO, the boosters, the football club, the foundation, all those things. Get there at 5, actually. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 6.
Six. So on the Facebook page, I did put a link to the new way that you will be able to purchase tickets. So you can purchase tickets ahead of time via the link. You also will be able to purchase tickets at the gate via Apple Pay or credit card, debit card, or cash. So it will certainly help to be able to just go and purchase your ticket. I do a lot of DDD myself. Okay. New Milford Knights Athletic Day, by the way, all of this is on our Facebook page on different posts, is Saturday, September 24th. I hope that you can all attend. It is a full day of activities. Games and festivities begin at 9 a.m. There will be food and fun and trucks and music and sports and a lot of fun that day. In addition, I know that it's a partnership with the town and with the Junior Football League, and I believe Junior Football will also have games going on that day, so it'll be a town-wide fun Saturday, September 24th. The homecoming game and weekend is Friday, September 30th, for those of you who'd like to attend. And our first scholarship event is on October 3rd. It's the Brian Keeler Scholarship Night, and it will be a boys soccer game versus Saddle River J at 7 p.m. Again, all of this is on our athletics page and on the Facebook page. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much for that
Thank you.
comprehensive report. I have a question on the registration,
Yes.
the families.
Yes.
So, they might have missed that email that went out or something, so I'm glad you mentioned it here, another form of communication. Some parents might scream when I say this, but will the school send another email to
We will.
remind them?
Yes.
So that, because also if they missed that first email, they might
Right.
not know where on the website
Where to go, right,
Some people
right.
have a little trouble navigating it, not everyone is tech savvy.
Got it.
Okay.
And they could also, if they're concerned, call their school, if they have any questions and need support.
And then, that's all I was going to say, I think. Paige, did you have something to say?
I did, I had a question, comment. So I know why, because this was a requirement, but can you, for some of the newer board members or other people, why there is dance at the high school and middle school now?
Oh, sure. So by code, we have to offer dance, and we weren't offering it. So, and we were worried that I was certainly worried that we weren't going to be able to find a teacher. And ironically, we posted for anticipated opening to see what we would get, and we found a wonderful teacher. We believe she'll be a wonderful teacher. And so we are offering it partly at the middle school and partly at the high school because that is where the requirement is. And at the elementary school, we work it in other ways. But at the middle school and high school, they have to have the option. So if students don't choose dance, but they choose some other performing art, that's okay. but we have to offer it.
Thank you.
Oh,
I
I-
know that was a while ago, so that's okay.
I remembered what I was gonna say.
Mhm.
It has to do with the open house.
Yes.
That's actually something the board had asked for previous to you coming, and things fizzled out, so I'm really glad to see that it's going to happen this year, because
We did do it years ago.
We did.
Yeah, we
with
did it years ago, and then COVID
and,
hit.
you know, COVID,
ruined everything.
things happened.
But we're getting
So that's great to see,
back in the
because,
saddle.
you know, the school offers so much that a lot of parents and students aren't even aware of. So it's great for people to have the opportunity
Right,
to see
because then
that.
you can do like
Yeah.
a clubs environment, you can do an athletics environment, you can do co-curricular, you can meet content area leaders and learn about the departments, you can meet with guidance staff, learn about the academies, there's just so much.
Yeah, so I'm glad to see that that's happening this year. Thank you.
I did have another one.
Yes.
The Chromebook insurance.
Yes.
So again, I want to bring up the fact that when, as a board, when everything happened with the pandemic and we had to immediately go remote and all of the laptops and everything was handed to students, there was no accountability for that equipment. And so just the ones that have been purchased at, $250,000 that we have in equipment that we're purchasing, just imagine all of that equipment going home and not knowing and not having any accountability for that equipment. And that's on the district. So I know that it was brought up prior to this to have some type of accountability, just simply if we were sending textbooks home, there is an accountability for that as well. So I do see this. So as far as the insurance,
It is optional.
it's optional. Can you, again, remind how you can do the insurance? Because when you registered, it may have slipped your mind and you didn't do it then.
We will certainly send out follow-ups to follow that so they can register. There are links. I can't tell you how. We will send out an email and you have to follow the link, and the link will take you to where you can pay.
Right.
And then it's $40 and it is optional. And then in the event that you don't take the insurance, then you're just responsible for the entire cost of repairs in the event that you have any. It is reduced for families who are on reduced lunch. It's reduced by half, and it is free for families who are on free lunch, but they still have to go in and complete the paperwork. So, and I did get questions as to why. So by law, we have to make concessions for families who are on free and reduced lunch for almost everything. That is the standard operating procedure. So that's how we're doing it.
Can I just add to that?
Yes.
We've been doing it for field trips
For
forever.
years.
Yeah.
A lot of
So that's just
things.
one example that's known to everyone. is
It's a
field
lot of
trips.
things.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of things. And we don't, really make it public because we certainly would never want to embarrass or draw attention to a student who was, who didn't want people to know, so we have to do things very discreetly. We don't really wave a flag when we do things for kids. We just do it. So,
Cheryl? Just a couple questions on that. How do you differentiate between like damage that's caused, like the normal course of just having a laptop? Like, how do you know the difference between damage that's caused by the student or damage that's caused that, the computer just doesn't turn on or,
Wear and
something like
tear.
that? Like,
Well,
how do you do that?
so we have a variety, we have a list, that much like probably your phone company has a list. If you crack the screen, that's different than it just won't turn on. And then they check it to see if there's water damage, and okay, the whole back of the inside of the phone is wet. Sorry, it doesn't just turn on, it's not our fault. So we have a tech team who can evaluate the device. And then we have an insurance team who evaluates the device. And things do happen. Kids, my kids drop and break their phones and crack their screens, and that's why I buy insurance. So that's why I do it, because things happen. Now, in the event that somebody damages somebody else's device, in the contract that we have the parents sign off on, it explains that should somebody do something to your device, you must, in 24 hours, report that something to administration. So you can't just say, well, 3 weeks ago he poured his drink on it, and so now it's not turning on. It's like, well, you were supposed to report it when it happened. So there is, there's a responsibility on the part of the students.
What do you do if, I'm just saying worst case scenario, what do you do if they don't get insurance?
Uh-huh.
It gets damaged, they can't pay it,
Uh-huh.
then what, and it's like September, and do you give them a Chromebook anyway? Like, what do you do?
That's something that we have to deal with on a case-by-case basis, and that would be an administrative conversation that we would have, and it would depend on the situation. If you've lost your history book for the 4th time, you still need your history book, but you still owe me for the other 4. So it's complicated. They're children, and we would never deny children access to an education. But there are ways to hold people and parents mostly accountable. I mean, at this point, you're holding parents accountable. So I would highly recommend the insurance plan.
Are there any other questions or comments? That leads us to Mr. Docksta.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's so nice to see everybody here this evening, ready to start the new school year. I have a few updates for you and a little bit of back-to-school business to share. And I'll begin with our new teacher orientation. Mrs. Shanley had referenced that in her address just a few minutes ago. Last week, we welcomed 19 new faculty and staff members back who took part in a comprehensive 3-day new teacher orientation. Given the widespread teacher shortage and challenges felt by many in education around the nation, we're very pleased to have such a large group of new teachers and support staff join us to engage in professional learning as we ready ourselves for the new school year. Our intention for new teacher orientation, or as we refer to it, NTO, is to help new faculty and staff acclimate to the district in a smaller, more relaxed environment while familiarizing themselves with district policies and procedures prior to the start of the school year. Some of the sessions that these new team members took part in included District Tech Access and Power Teacher Pro, Google for Education, Making Homework Meaningful and Formative Assessments, McCrell's Framework for Growth, which is our district teacher evaluations platform, Individualized Education Plans, IEPs, Constructivism as a Paradigm for Teaching and Learning, Intervention and Referral Services, and Responsive Classroom, The Power of Words and Intentional Talk. We have developed the leadership team this summer a 22-23 district school meeting calendar, which includes scheduled meetings throughout the course of the school year, which will allow us to continue to support our new faculty and staff members and come together as a community of learners and kind of lend support as we navigate teaching and learning this year. We're very excited to welcome 35 incoming freshmen to the academies at New Milford High School. This is a really great group. We're really excited to have them as new members of the academies. Membership in the academies is acceptance-based, and it includes a thorough review process. Some of the factors that impact decision-making include course history, class schedules, demonstrated academic performance, and records of attendance and tardiness. We hope that this opportunity provides the momentum for our students to focus on the appropriate courses aligned with their chosen area of concentration and engage in activities necessary to ensure their continued membership. We're really excited. Last year we were able to continue some of those fantastic trips, field trips, where they went visiting colleges and universities and kind of like an immersion type trip as well, where they enjoy some culture and dinner together and shows. So we're really looking forward to this school year and all that it has to offer for our students. Okay, I have spoken about Start Strong in the past. Some of you may be aware, but as per the New Jersey Department of Education and the Commissioner, school districts across New Jersey are required to administer the Start Strong assessment as part of the overall statewide assessment system again this fall. The last time that we administered Start Strong was last September, October. The Start Strong assessment is a valuable tool for teachers, parents, and families, and it provides us with results in real time, and it allows us to identify the most appropriate levels of support for students in English language arts, mathematics, and science based on priority New Jersey student learning standards from the prior academic year. So our incoming fifth graders will be assessed on end of year fourth grade expectations, as an example. The Start Strong assessments are based on prioritized prior year academic standards, available in ELA in grades 4 through 10, math in grades 4 through 8, algebra 1, geometry, and algebra 2, and in science in grades 6, 9, and 12. The assessments can be administered in approximately 45 to 60 minutes, so they're intended to be administered in a single class session, much like the benchmarking through Lincoln that students are already familiar with. They will provide immediate results to teachers through the assessment platform, and they will include the same accessibility features and accommodations as the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments, or NJSLA, including forms in Spanish as well as text-to-speech. Most of you should be familiar with the reports that came home following our last administration, but the Start Strong assessments utilize 3 performance levels. Strong support may be needed, some support may be needed, and less support may be needed. These performance levels help us make decisions about the types of supports that students might need. These assessments are not meant to replace any preferred assessment strategies, but will be used to complement existing benchmarking efforts to gather standard-based data at the beginning of the school year. So we're using them alongside of our local benchmarks just to add to that overall picture and give us a little bit more information about students who are new coming into our classrooms for their new teachers. These Start Strong assessments will be administered a bit earlier this year, and we will be testing September 20th through September 30th. As far as the published, I just want to throw a little note in there. We report the overall performance out to the public and are required to do so. However, we're only able to do that once the scores are published, and that did happen very late last year, and I reported it was January. So if there may be a little bit of time there, but the reports, hopefully the individual score reports will get home to you sooner. And of course, if you have any questions, you can follow up with your child's teacher. Another note on testing. On Tuesday, July 5th of this year, Governor Murphy signed legislation which requires the State Board of Education to administer the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, or the NJGPA, as a field test for the class of 2023. The new state law requires that the NJGPA be administered as a field test for grade 11 students who are expected to graduate as part of the class of 2023. It prohibits the results of the NJGPA field test, a substitute competency test, or portfolio appeal from being used as a prerequisite for graduation for students expected to graduate in the class of 2023. I'll break that down for you. There is no graduation assessment requirement for any student who is expected to graduate with the class of 2023, consistent with this law above in regards to the NJGPA. The graduation assessment requirements for the classes of 2024 and 2025 will remain in place. In June, we had a wonderful presentation by an expert who presented on the new comprehensive health and physical education standards out of an organization through Rutgers University. Her name is Taz Weisberger. We're really pleased to share that we're in the process of planning an additional presentation for parents on these new standards with Taz. Taz Weisberger is the Training and Technical Assistance Manager at Answer, a national nonprofit based out of Rutgers University that promotes unfettered access to comprehensive sex education. Taz has been in the field for nearly 10 years. Taz is certified to teach K-12 health education in the state of New Jersey and is also a certified health education specialist. The presentation right now is tentatively scheduled for October 11th. As soon as we have more information, that will follow.
Lauren, can I just add to that? The June presentation is currently on the curriculum page. So if you go to the website and you go to the board office, you go to curriculum, you can see June's presentation in full. You can also review the New Jersey Student Learning Standards in Comprehensive Health and Physical Education, and I encourage you to read them so that you can read what's actually there instead of what some people in the public are saying is there, but does not exist there. And you can also see our curriculum for every grade for health, and it is listed on the curriculum page. So there are no secrets, there should be no surprises, and there you go. And thank you for doing that one.
As mentioned earlier, we have a 2022-2023 district school meeting calendar that's been developed to support ongoing professional development and learning throughout the school year. Targeted time is set aside after school and on early dismissal days or first days that students come home early, intended for professional development. This year's continuum for learning will focus on increasing student achievement and using data to improve teaching and learning. Together, we will unpack facilitating learning for our students, components of a quality lesson, the arc of a lesson, common assessments and evidence of learning, data-driven goal setting, analyzing classroom data, creating grade-level department goals, differentiating to meet the needs of all learners, and the impact of our practice on learning, which will be a nice end-of-the-year reflection. We will also have Explore Academy sessions, utilizing the PD for Teachers by Teachers model, tapping into some of our resident experts so that we can share best practices amongst ourselves. Always a favorite. Okay, I just want to draw your attention to two items on the agenda this evening. C22-23.4, approval of the curriculum, and C22-23.11, the last one under educational programs. On June 3rd, 2020, the State Board of Education adopted a resolution that set forth a schedule for school districts to implement the new 2020 student learning standards. I've spoken about this many times at a lot of different meetings. Due to the pandemic, the State Board of Education voted to revise that schedule to delay implementation, and now we are required to implement curriculum that is aligned to these new standards beginning September of 22 this year. So we this evening are approving all pre-K through 12 curricula aligned to the 2020 New Jersey Student Learning Standards in the following areas: visual and performing arts, comprehensive and physical education, science, social studies, world languages, computer science and design thinking, which is formerly technology, and career readiness, life literacies, and key skills, which is formerly 21st century. In addition, on January 18th of this year, Governor Murphy signed legislation that ensures that the contributions, history, and heritage of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are included in the New Jersey Student Learning Standards for Social Studies in kindergarten through grade 12. We have worked alongside of our teachers and and leaders to develop a comprehensive AAPI curriculum companion, which consists of a compilation of resources designed to work in tandem with existing curriculum. And it includes different resources, lesson ideas, and specific ideas for implementation according to each grade span. That is also available on the shared drive that I had shared with the board, and I will speak about that with our faculty more on opening day. A lot of business there, but that concludes my report for this.
A lot of
evening.
business.
Thank
I
you
know.
very much. That was a lot.
I have
Thank
two
you for
questions
listening.
for you, yes, that's all right. Start Strong. Start Strong was started last year as a result of the pandemic. Does it seem to, or do you know, does it seem that that is going to now be a standard going every year, just like NJ's law? Because we're doing it again, so I assume it's a state requirement.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that most districts were caught off guard.
Yes.
And we're not necessarily aware that this was going to be a requirement. In the spring, the department shared out their assessment schedule, which includes all of the assessments that students will be required to take this school year, and it was on there. And that.
We thought it was a mistake.
We thought it was a mistake. It drew a lot of questions, I think, around the county and the state. And we received further guidance that it was not a mistake and that we are required to take it. I do know that different professional organizations have pulled together to share their concerns, voice their concerns. I believe New Jersey School Board's being one of them.
Yes. And NJPSA, NJASA.
Correct.
Have all rallied in an attempt to get the Department of Education to really think about what they're asking. Because in addition to this, schools are required to have local benchmarking, and we're required to have our New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, and it's just like how much can a district do? So what can go? Can you use this as one of your benchmarks? Can you use it, so we're pulling back on one Lincoln assessment. So instead of doing 3 Lincoln assessments, we'll be doing 2 Lincoln assessments and this. So, but there is definitely some outroar.
That being said, we haven't heard otherwise.
So we're doing it.
Moving forward and planning accordingly.
Okay, well, thank you very much. At least you'll have comparative analysis for
Let's hope.
the end of it'll be interesting. I didn't see who was first.
Ladies first.
Paige?
So it's actually not it's around the Start Strong, because I think there might have been a little confusion, at least from the community, around how that was going to be used. So just to clarify and make clear, the Start Strong is not used as a grade.
No.
It is
No.
used as an assessment tool. It should not, so if your child comes home and says, I have this test, it's going to count towards my grade, it is not. Is that so
It's
true?
really a baseline,
Yep.
saying that these are the new students coming into my classroom, and we're measuring how well they are meeting end of prior year's grade level expectations. So my 5th graders, I'll be able to see how, if they can meet the end of 4th grade expectations, so that I know how to tailor my instruction.
Right. But it's not going to be
Modified
great.
accordingly.
It's not a
I'm
grade.
just bringing it to the basics. so
No,
that
it's
they
definitely not
understand.
graded.
Yeah.
Definitely not graded.
So if your child comes home and says they're getting graded,
I can't promise that a teacher might not try to incentivize taking the assessment seriously
yes.
by saying could be a grade. So I'm just you don't want
Right.
how do you get a student to take the test really seriously and do their very, very best and say, but it doesn't count. So
Right. But it does count in a way.
it does count because we use it as a tool.
Seems to be more challenging in
It's-
high school.
it's-
level,
yeah.
among the kids getting
Oh, yeah.
to take it
Well,
seriously.
because, yeah.
Through an ass.
Yeah.
That was good, thank you.
I just wanted to echo the superintendent's position in regards to Taz, and that, I was on that June call and I listened to it, and I know a bunch of the board members were, and if anybody hasn't watched it, or make yourself available for the other one, because she's very impressive and she's very informative. And like many people, I had heard all sorts of things, and the reality of it is it's very informative, it's very educational, and just my 2 cents. If you have the opportunity, haven't had a chance to listen to it, listen to it, because as the superintendent said, everything's laid out on the borough. There's nothing hidden. It's transparent as can be. And really, if at least it's my opinion, if anybody's spewing that there's this major crazy, to me there's not. But certainly make a judgment yourself by listening to it, or watching the one from June. That would just be my 2 cents on it.
And I just want to thank all the families who came and were present for that presentation. We had close to 150 people online for that.
It was
So
great.
reminiscent of COVID times.
Yeah, it was definitely an impressive turnout. So.
I see what you're saying, but you actually made a statement on my next question, so
Oh.
thank you. That was good.
Okay.
My question is on the health presentation. It was an excellent presentation. Thank you for bringing that up. The upcoming one, is it going to be a repeat for people who missed it, or is there going to be new information given? It's a repeat.
I think it's a repeat of the presentation. What might be different is the contribution of the viewers, because the questions from parents could be different, and there was a lot of good dialogue that took place. But I think
We might be able to do an abbreviated
right.
delivery of the information
With
to
more
allow
Q&A.
for more, because there were a lot of questions that I
There were.
felt she spoke really well to.
She did. She
Well,
really
that's
did.
why I asked. So if someone saw the last presentation, they may not feel the need to attend this if it's the same thing.
And if I could add to what you're saying, so in addition to doing this and putting it out there for everybody to see, we also hired, we took the part-time elementary nursing position and made it a full-time. So now we have 3 nurses between the 2 elementary schools, which will help the nurses be part of the instructional process when it comes to the most delicate health and body conversations, so that the classroom teacher may feel quite comfortable teaching, the importance of eating vegetables, but not necessarily as comfortable teaching this. And so now we will have more nursing support, so that the elementary school can have those conversations.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Yeah, in relationship to the health curriculum, and we have talked about it before, but because it's a new school year, can you just go over again for the parents the opt-out policy if they aren't comfortable with their child attending that portion of the health curriculum?
Right, so parents will be notified before we teach the lessons, and it will be for those particular lessons. Parents cannot just opt out of health in general, because it's by code they have to learn health. They can opt out of anything that does not coincide with, let's say, their religious beliefs, for example. So they will have that opportunity, and then the students will be given an alternative assignment. However, as an educator and as the educational leader of this district, I think it's very important for everybody to hear. I believe that these are critically important lessons. Many of them are being taught for the safety of our students, so that they have and are comfortable with language that they need to know should they ever be a victim, and that they need to know things about their bodies. Very sadly, or just could be a cultural thing, or it could just be people's own personal way that they don't feel comfortable talking to their children about certain things. A mom may feel uncomfortable talking to her son. A dad may feel uncomfortable talking about to his daughter, for example. And children will go through life not knowing things about their own bodies that they really should know. And the greater challenge is controlling the information that our students receive via technology. One of the statistics that she shared during the presentation, which was shocking to me, and I of course quickly went and asked my daughter what she thought of this statistic, was something like 70% of 11-year-olds see pornography. Well, if we're not talking to 11-year-olds about what real health and sex education looks like, what are they going to think when they stumble upon something that they shouldn't see, that is too mature for their eyes? That's going to be what they think is a relationship or whatever. And it's through education that we can have these safe conversations with our students. And they may be difficult to have, but I do believe that they are necessary to have, because it's our job to educate the kids.
Thank you.
I have one comment and then Paige and then Cheryl. I encourage everyone in public to watch what's posted, to attend if you can, because also, then you can also have these conversations with your children, whether you choose to opt them out or whether you choose to allow them, it's your choice. But if, it's always good if they learn it from the school, you know exactly what the school is talking about, so you can continue that conversation at home and impose your values and your views on top of what they learn. So I hope that everyone, if they didn't already attend, will attend. Paige.
I actually echo what you were going to say, because I was just going to say that. It's very informative. There is a lot that we may or may not understand, and it's not just about the topic that you're talking about. There are a lot of things in this curriculum that are topics about how we treat each other and how we treat, other people, and how acceptance, or just in general. And it's not, one of the things that she had said in the presentation, I'm not going to say it correctly, was we impose our adult perception on these topics. So when you hear something about a topic, you're thinking of your 50-something-year-old brain. So, right, me, 50-year-old, and you're thinking of all your experiences and everything you think, and you forget that at a 5-year-old level, that's not how it's getting covered. It's getting covered in a way for them that says, we're all friends and let's accept each other. It's not at that level. But if you are talking to an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old, yes, the topic will be a little bit different for whatever it is. So I think it was very informative. She did it in a very good way. It was very clear. There was a lot of interesting things that were found out. And again, echoing what Tanya said, which is, regardless of your personal values and beliefs on whether you opt out your child for a lesson, that is your prerogative as a parent, and you should be able to do so. But please get as informed as you can about everything, because our children are being exposed to things, they are seeing things, they are hearing things, and as adults, we want to be there for them when these things come up. So we just get as informed as you can, and then make your decision. But I think it was a great presentation, and I have every faith that the curriculum and the school district will do it appropriately.
We'll record this one and post it as well.
Yep.
Cheryl?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the oddball and go back to something else that Lauren said. I really appreciate that, I know it's not by law, but I appreciate that there's gonna be an incorporation of Asian American Pacific Islander contributions. Obviously, personally, that affects me, but I grew up in Milford, and there's a lot of history to teach. It's really valuable for kids that look like me to see the things that people that look like us have done historically. Not to obviously, kind of focus on that, but I think it's nice that there's going to be a broad spectrum and it's going to be incorporated into the existing curriculum. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Thank you, Cheryl. It's already in the art history. Pea Supu, look it up. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, Pea Supu. It's an excellent artwork. Did I see a hand up over here? Okay, thank you, everyone. That brings us to Business Administrator Report. Dr. Stephanie Pichard, you have something for us.
Yeah, I do.
And it's going to be a lot, I know.
It's exciting work. Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to start by talking about the direct install. It's through the New Jersey Clean Energy and PSE&G initiatives. we were able to retrofit, get new fixtures, new boilers, and small HVAC, and the initiative pays for up to 70% of the total cost. So David E. Owens is complete. All lighting in all of the hallways, every single classroom has high efficiency LED lights, and we were even able to successfully add high efficiency boilers with controls. Berkeley is also complete. This was the only school in the district that previously had high efficiency boilers. So every single hallway, all of the classrooms have been retrofitted with high efficiency and LED lighting. The Gibbs boilers have been replaced, and they now have high efficiency boilers and controls. Again, every single hallway and every single classroom have new high efficiency LED lighting, and that's not yet complete. So as of tomorrow's Wednesday, they will be working nights to not interfere so that the custodians can prepare for teachers to return to the building on Thursday morning, and they'll continue working nights and Saturday to make sure that everything is complete for students to return. At the high school, all of the hallways, all of the classrooms, as well as the cafeteria, gymnasium, and weight room have all been retrofitted with LED high efficiency lighting. We were unable to upgrade the boilers here because they're steam. So it's something we'll look for in the future and adding controls to that, but we would have to convert the whole system, so we weren't able to do that under this project. We have small HVAC units throughout each of the buildings to equip more of the classrooms with air conditioners and more efficient heating. I'll get back to you on the total numbers of the small HVAC because we've added some, taken some away. It's sort of been a work in progress all summer. We have also upgraded all of our exterior lighting throughout the district. We've had some complaints from neighbors complaining that they're too bright, but we have a great team that'll go out and adjust them. They have to be adjusted several times. But overall, this enhances our school safety. I'm sure Ms. Shanley can attest to the brightness of the lights.
Yes.
Her office has recently done.
Oh, and all of the offices. And like here,
here.
you see, we only have one row of lights on. We put all 3 rows. You could tan.
It's very bright.
Very bright.
So our custodial staff all summer long, along with their regular summer work, has been following along lighted crews to make sure that all our buildings are clean and ready for our students and teachers to return. They've installed 1,382 lights at DEO, 2,632 at Berkeley. They will install 1,642 at Gibbs. At the high school, it was supposed to be 3,720 lights, but just on Monday, we decided that that wasn't enough, so we added the cafeteria. So I'll have to get back to you on the total of that. So that includes 8,376 lights throughout the districts. So I really hope that the students are ready to come back to some great schools.
Yeah.
So that concludes my direct install update. Next, our next project. We're getting really close to finalizing the last secure vestibule, the board office entrance in the district, which will ensure the safety of all students in the high school building. We've ran into some roadblocks. It was supposed to be final completion of August 24th. It's now complete. I'll get back to you when it is. In collaboration and coordination with the borough, we were able to line a significant portion of our parking lots. So huge thank you to the town and the DPW for the help in that. The next project we had done this summer was we abated 2 major asbestos areas in the Berkeley School. I previously spoke about some busing issues. We're getting through those slowly. We have tiered some routes, and this is the first year our buses will be transporting 8 out-of-district students. We've also partnered with other districts, like Emerson. We took on Dumont and Cresskill for one of our routes, and we tiered that to transport some of our students to decrease our costs. Moving on to food services. our food services contract went out for RFP and was awarded to Pomptonian. So we're very excited to continue to work with them. And a reminder to all families to fill out the free and reduced lunch applications. It's especially important because the meals are no longer free for all students. And the tech fee would be reduced or waived if you qualify for free or reduced lunch. And lastly, I just think it's important to acknowledge the work that my office has done. They've been displaced all summer. We were moved to a classroom down the hall in late June. Last week, I told them that they had to move to the conference room. So I've been taking up space where I can find it. It's been a fun week. So Kate always seems to know what I'm gonna ask before I even ask it. Faith is piled behind all sorts of greens. We have a large bills list. Thank you to all of her hard work in getting all the greens back from the administrators. We just welcomed Terry DeStefano. She just started in our office. She's the central office transportation coordinator. She's been real busy getting those transportation routes, the aid and lieu letters, the non-public routes. We have 4 of those. Any Bergen County Special Services, academies, VOTech, Applied Tech. We recently have 2 students attending Demarest. And then I have to thank Colleen because she's been helping with transportation all summer, and then training and transitioning Terry to ensure her success in that role, all while doing her own job and of course supporting me. So I'm truly thankful to have a team like that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
And now you're gonna take a vacation, so.
Yeah, until further notice.
I feel like I'm so lazy this summer. Holy cow.
I have no questions, just a bunch of thank yous. Thank you to you and your team for working so hard. That's a lot of work. And to the people installing the lights. So we all know that when you have these big projects, like you said, you hit roadblocks, nothing gets done when you want it to get done. So the fact that they're working nights so that they don't disturb our students. Hey, you and your team are disturbed. You're in the conference room, but
I can handle it.
the students need to come in and have a good start to the year. So thank you very much to them for working nights and getting that done. And then also thank you to the town for the collaboration on paving, because we all know these are old buildings, and the list just grows and grows and grows, and there's only so much money, and you try to knock things off the list as you can and get as creative as you can to get things done. So thank you for the town for helping out where you can. Much appreciated.
It was painting the lines, just clarification.
Painting.
Painting the
lines.
the stripes
Oh, I
and the
thought it was
lines.
the paving they were painting. Okay, well still, thank you. That's awesome. Okay, are there any other questions or comments for Stephanie?
Thank you.
Okay.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
Board action. I make a motion to approve BA 22-23.8, BA 22-23.9, BA 22-23.10.
Just say that.
14.
Just say.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Should we put one of these? There we go. Awesome. Point 12, point 13, and point 14. Can I get a second? Second by Joe Luna. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Educational Programs and Curricular Committee. I make a motion to approve C45. Sorry, I just want to make sure I flipped it over. Yeah. C22-23.3, .4, .5, .6, .7, .8, .9, and point 10, and point 11. Can I get a second? Seconded by Paige Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes.
Can I just share something with the public in case anybody was curious? If you look at this and it says C45, and then down below it, it says C22, 23.3. We did this because if you were revising something from a year prior, you didn't necessarily know it was a year prior, except that the numbers were out of order. So we are now, so you can tell C45 was last year.
Yes.
And anything that we do this year will have 22, 23 point, whatever the item is. Okay, just so that that makes sense to the public out there. We might have discussed it, but.
Thank you.
I just, before before you go through all the Ps, I have a quick question on one of them. Is it okay if I ask that now?
When I go through it, I'll say any questions or comments, and then that's
Okay.
the time you ask. Excellent. Personnel recommendations. Having the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion, and I'll do that before the ayes. I make a motion to approve P153, P156, P175, P22-23.7, .8, .10, .11, .12, .13, .14, .15, .16, .17, .18, .19, .20, .21, .22, .23, .24, .25, .26, .27, .28, .29, .30, .31, .32, .33, .34, .35, .36, .37, .38, .39. Can I get a second? Seconded by Nicole Dunn. Questions or comments? Joseph Luna.
Regarding P22-23.38.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
It's the 6th period positions.
38. Yep.
So I'm just curious, how does it get determined which teachers are asked to do that? Is it seniority based? Is it that we can't ever find anybody and we're begging? Like, I'm just curious.
So it's a few things. It could be in some cases where you have, let's say, a maternity leave, and it's 3 months and you can't get a sub. You may take 5 English teachers and based on their schedules, cover that maternity leave 5 periods, right? And because they're all English teachers, so each person gets 1 based on schedule. And then the dollar amount is because it's, 1/6 of their salary. 1/6 of their salary. Sometimes in a science department, you may need a 2nd period of physics, and all of your teachers are full, and so the physics teacher now needs to teach a 6th period, for example. So it's definitely not a seniority thing. It's usually based on availability of schedule.
That's what I was
Who's got an open period 2, and can teach this class, and if not, what kind of, shifting do you have to do to make it work?
Okay.
Last year, we had a variety of 6th period stipends in health and physical education, if you remember, and it was more cost effective to hire a PE teacher, so we did. So when we can, this is not ideal because you don't want teachers to be overtaxed, but sometimes you're at a loss.
Thank you.
Roll call. Oh, did you have a question also?
Yeah, for P22-23.8.11, can you, I understand what rescind means, but what does that mean? Are we going to see this again?
There is 8.
23.8.
Instructional
It
assistant.
says rescind.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on educational
John,
programs.
Could you repeat the number?
We're on the Ps, right?
Yeah.
Point 8 and point 11.
22-23.8.11.
I think this, okay, so
Are we reversing?
I'll tell you what this is. This particular person was appointed first as an instructional assistant. She is now working as a health assistant, so her position changed. So it's just rescinding her appointment as an instructional assistant and appointing her, if you look at 13, as the health assistant,
Got it.
which is a different job description
Got it.
in that particular one. Was there another one, John?
And the same thing with Mr. Randazzo.
I think I had emailed you that question. I think it's the same situation.
Point 11.
Point 11, Stephanie, can you speak? Did that person not work out for us?
Correct.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Albro?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
Mr. DeCosta?
Yes.
Ms. Dunn?
Yes.
Ms. Coffinger?
Yes.
Mr. Luna?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Gomez?
Yes.
President Andrews?
Yes. Finance Committee, Sage Ryan.
I make a motion for approval for FA 2223.4, .5, and .6. Oh,
Paige, I think.
sorry, wrong
you're on
one.
the wrong slide. Yeah.
I'm like, why was that so short? I felt like it was supposed to be longer.
It should be F
Sorry,
22,
Nicole.
yeah. Okay.
F 2223, point 20, point 21, point 22, point 23, point 24, point 25, point 26, point 27, point 28, point 29, point 30, point 31, point 32, point 33, point 34, point 35, point 36, point 37, point 38, point 39, point 40, and point 41.
Can we get a second, please? Second by Stephanie Coffinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Facilities Committee.
Wait a second. Before you move on to that, can I just make a note for any new board member that may not understand, because it's the first time you're seeing this, and it'll continue for a little bit, but the approval of June additional and July additional are previous year that we may just be getting the goods and services in. So it'll appear until we close the books, we'll have June additionals reoccurring. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that's what that is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Facilities Committee? No, hold on.
I seek a motion for FA 2223.4, .5, .6.
That was the short one. Can we get a second, please? Second by Cheryl Calderon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Policy Committee, Anthony Albrow. Oh, sorry, I skipped athletics. Nicole Dunn.
I seek a motion for AC 2223.3, .4, .5, and .6.
Second by, question?
Yes.
Do you have a question too?
No,
You were right there for
second.
that, yeah. Paige, question?
Okay, so, 2223.3 is approval for Kyle Hill to volunteer his services,
Correct,
but personnel P153 is rescinding the appointment.
correct.
So how is that done?
Because
I emailed her that question.
we're rescinding the appointment as assistant coach. That was his decision, that was a personal decision.
Okay.
And he just wants to volunteer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yes, thank you. So second. Because it was
So
second.
in one case, it's a paid position, so it's in
Right.
paid. And here, it's an athletic volunteer position, so it's in athletics. Because I too said to myself, why is this in two different spots? That's why.
Thank you.
And seconded by Heather Gomez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Policy Committee, Anthony Albrow.
I seek a motion to approve POL 22-23.2, which is the second reading and adoption of policies. I also seek a motion for POL 22-23.3, which is the first reading of the following policies and regulations.
Seconded by Joseph Luna. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Additional board items. Old business? Yes.
Would it be possible for the board at the next meeting to receive information regarding our 8th grade class moving to 9th grade, what ended up entering our high school come September, and how many students
Sure.
did come here? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I have two questions that I think are old business. If not, I can wait till request for additional information.
No, you can ask that now.
Okay, so last year it had been discussed about the dual enrollment program with Bergen Community College. I don't know if that was something that was anticipated to start in September or if it was September of '23. So just an update on that. If there is an update, I really don't remember if it was this year or next.
So we already have dual enrollment courses that exist with Bergen Community College. What I am looking to move forward with, and Ms. Peter Friend does have some experience in this, is actually the early college program, which is different something, which is where students are actually graduating from here with an associate's degree. And the other piece would be
They have to
The-
certify our
the-
teachers, right?
they don't have to certify our teachers, but they do, there is a partnership where they have to approve our teachers as employees of theirs and review their credentials, and then we take a look at our courses and what we offer and how that course can meet the needs of their course, and if it doesn't meet the needs, what our course has to have for it to qualify. So it's definitely a process of like a course approval list. And then there's the certification program, which is a program for the either non-college bound learner or for the student who doesn't want to go to college right away and is looking for some sort of job certifications in other areas. And I believe they have 5 or 6 certifications that our students could go and take the courses and get those certs. So that's phase 2 and 3. And I'm confident that Ms. Peterfriend is definitely going to work with Ms. Odopsta and get us through phase 2 during her time here next year, because she's done it before. But we already have the dual enrollment.
Okay. Then the other question that I had.
I'm sorry, I just want to
Oh.
follow up on your question.
Sure, go ahead.
When you say next year, this coming school year?
We'll be working on it this coming school year.
So it should
The early
hopefully-
college
got
program
it.
should be in place, hopefully for next September.
Excellent.
The issue is cost. So when you do these programs, the costs are borne by the families. So how popular a program is could be determined by how affordable it is for families, because it's not something that the district could possibly bear the cost of. Whereas with dual enrollment, we teach the courses here. If they want those credits, they're just paying for some credits.
Thank you. Your second question.
Yep. So last year, I think everybody on this board had the opportunity to do a tour of facilities, and we all saw the locker rooms, and there was a problem with lockers that were broken and jagged metal, etc. So I was curious as to an update as to where we stand with that going into the school year. Were we able to remediate the broken metal, whether it was covered up by cardboard or what have you? I know replacing lockers is a whole other issue.
Right.
But just the actual safety portion of it, where do we stand with that?
It's my understanding that that is ready for the students and that it is safe.
Okay. Thank you.
And as I explained to the facilities committee, that is something that we are looking at doing a year from now, or having we finished a year from now, should we be able to fund that with capital reserve. So that is our goal.
Thank you.
And facilities committee will update us further in the other meetings, correct? Thank you for that. All right. Board member requests for additional information. I seek a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Was that
Oh, sorry. Where's that on the agenda? Oh, there we go. I skipped it. I have to put my glasses
Put your
back on.
glasses
Put my glasses back on. Here we go. Open to the public. As outlined in New Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 2 minutes. Motion by Paige Ray, seconded by Stephanie Coffinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If there are no, yes.
State your name.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Joe Steele, 377 Hoffman Avenue. As some of you know, I met with John Horgan about 2 years ago about the problems with ballots on election day, where we can't even find a board member. It's a presidential election or a state election. People go into the ballot, go into the voting machines, and sometimes they just see a pick 3, go boom, 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 and they're out. People of New Milford really need to know who the candidates are. And I proposed something we did years ago, which was a Meet the Candidates night, have it live streamed. Doesn't have to be a debate, just explain who you are. And if questions want to be posed, that's fine. But I think it's doing a disservice to the town if people don't know who's running or what they stand for. So I proposed it for the first week of November. The second week is a mess between Teachers Convention, Election Day, Veterans Day, everything. First week of November is still pretty clear. And I think keeping it fresh in their mind would be a very opportune time to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Steele.
And you can have the PTOs facilitate it.
League of Women Voters.
Yes.
That's who organizes them. So that's done by the League of Women Voters. Those are conducted and orchestrated by the League of Women Voters. Yeah, so sometimes, not by the school.
But we used to do it here, it was facilitated by the PTOs.
Well, the PTOs might partner with the League of Women Voters.
fine.
Right, but
All right, I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. If there are no other comments from the public, I seek a motion to adjourn this meeting. Oh, thank you. I seek a motion to close to the public.
Oh.
Motion by Anthony Alborough, second by Nicole Dunn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And now I seek a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Paige Ryan, seconded by Heather Gomez. All in
with motion closed.
Oh, we do?
Oh, wait.
Okay,
You were whispering, she thought you meant close to
That
the
was
public.
not on the agenda.
No.
That was not
Okay.
personnel.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
go
finding
ahead.
out about this now. Okay, so, I do seek a motion to close. We will go into close
For personnel.
for personnel.
But we
When
will
we
not-
return, we will not be taking action. So I will ask you all to step out, please, if you would like to